Welcome to YellBro Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to go over another Candace video, which claims to have the truth about Charlie Kirk's medical exam. But first, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that Discord. I'm in there right now. Don't hesitate. Don't be scared. All opinions welcome. Please join the Discord if you want to. And also, everything I show you today will be linked in that same description box. So when I pause videos, when I, God forsake, have an opinion on something, or if I feel like rambling, you don't have to what? You don't have to hear me. Just go to the description box. You'll find all the sources right there. Take advantage of it. All right. Before I get to the Candace stuff, I know we got to do the boring stuff, right? Sorry. Donald Trump makes a certain statement about this deal with Hamas and the ceasefire in Gaza. Let's give it a listen. Here we go.
Looking ahead, what guarantees Hamas disarms and that Israel doesn't resume bombing once the hostages are released?
The first thing we're doing is getting our hostages back, okay? And that's what people wanted more than anything else. They wanted these hostages back that have lived in hell like nobody has ever even dreamt possible. And after that, we'll see. But they've agreed to things, and I think it's going to move along pretty well.
Looking ahead.
So, just like before with the phase one, right? Even though he was a lot less vocal about that, after phase one, they went right back to bombing. So let's say they complete this phase one and they go right back to bombing, or they wait for a potential peace prize thing, which would be, I mean, that'd be like as pathological as it gets. And like, you have to think Americans are tired of shit like that. But yet they just churn out a new candidate and they fall for it again and again and again. It's just a sad thing to say. But, it is what it is. Let's continue here. As you can see, there you go, the Nobel Peace Prize. He deserves it from the Prime Minister of Israel, from their official Twitter account. Now, check this out. This is from their National Security Minister, ben-gvir. In talks I held with the Prime Minister in recent days, I made clear that under no circumstances will I be part of a government that allows Hamas's rule in Gaza to continue. This is a glaring red line. The Prime Minister committed to me that this will be so. I told the Prime Minister that I told the Prime Minister, and I tell you as well, citizens of Israel, I will not enable any case of deception. If Hamas's rule is not dismantled, or if we are merely told that it has been dismantled while in reality it continues to exist under another guise, Atzma Yehudit, Jewish Power Party, will bring down the government. Okay. So he's essentially threatening Netanyahu. Now, what's interesting here is the I think opposition in Israel, opposition parties want to take down Netanyahu, but they can't because he's in like some sort of war powers situation, right? Like, oh, we're at war, so you guys can't touch me right now. But I think there's people in the country that want to take him down for corruption. So his own team is saying, if you end this war, we're going to get you. And the other teams are saying, if you end this war, we're going to get you. I mean, I'm fucking wrecked. None of this spells, this does not look good. But once again, I don't mind people that are being hopeful. Just don't be blind. That's all I say. Be hopeful, but don't be blind. Because his administration is gung-ho for war. And I think Bibi's fine with it. Just like I think a lot of Trump's administration, or most of it, is gung-ho for war. And he's with it too. At least all the evidence we've seen so far. Now, this could be a change in the path with this whole quote-unquote ceasefire or peace deal. But who knows? It could just be another ruse. We've seen them before from this administration in this year alone. It's time to wake up, Trump fans. Don't get played anymore, bro. I have a little headline from The Onion. Israel agrees to go back to killing Palestinians on less frequent basis. Fuck my life, dude. It's dark, but, you know, there's something to it, possibly. Now, let's continue on to something that, to me, I mean, which no one seems to really look at, in my humble opinion. Now, I don't know this person too well. I haven't studied them too well, so I'm just kind of taking it out of that and looking at it more hypothetically. Of like, what is the greatest threat to all parties involved in all of this? A peaceful, nonviolent stance against all of them. That is always the biggest threat. Now, this guy who I don't know too well, once again, just being fair and honest with you, and I need to look more into him. Pause. But I'm just saying, like, on the surface, if he is the way that people are describing him as, you can see why this guy's a threat. And let's go over this. As you can see, the fellow right here, who was supposed to be part of the prisoner exchange, right? Like, it's funny how Trump says, we need to get our hostages back. Our hostages. Like, no, they're Israeli hostages. And guess what? Israel's holding Palestinian hostages. So unless you're going to say the Palestinian guys are also our hostages, you know, then it's kind of like, shut the fuck up. You're being a hypocrite. And these are more signs of this person not being such a good guy. Put it that way. But let's read some of this. Israel secretly removes Marwan Barghouti from prisoner list, jeopardizing ceasefire deal. From, I believe, Middle East Eye. Israel's Prime Minister's office unilaterally removed Marwan Barghouti's name from the prisoner exchange list at the last minute, despite it having already been approved by mediators, including U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, sources tell Middle East Eye. Barghouti, a senior Fatah leader, widely considered the most popular Palestinian political figure, was one of the most high-profile detainees expected to be traded for 48 Israeli captives under the first phase of the ceasefire deal. According to sources close to Barghouti and the negotiations, his removal, alongside other prominent prisoners such as Ahmad Sadat, Hassan Salameh, Kolkut, and Abdullah Barghouti, I guess is like a relative, has thrown the deal into uncertainty. His name is considered a political red line for the Israeli National Security Minister, Itamar ben-gvir, whose opposition could threaten Netanyahu's governing coalition. Yeah, apparently. Meanwhile, Barghouti's wife remains in Cairo lobbying mediators to ensure his inclusion, while Hamas and other Palestinian factions continue consultations to unify their stance on Israel's response to the prisoner list. Egyptian and Qatari officials had previously pushed hard for his release, seeing him as central to any long-term political outcome. And if I go to Ryan Grimm here, see here it says, refusing to release Marwan Barghouti, who embraces the nonviolence and a two-state solution, is blindingly clear evidence that the Israeli government, despite their protestations, I never even heard that word before, genuinely prefer Hamas in power if there must be Palestinians at all. And I see that from all sides around here. Meaning, like, Israel and Western powers, like the U.S. and all that. These guys would rather have cutthroat fucking, listen, we'll blow you up, we'll shoot you, whatever. They'd rather have that than the non-violent person. Once again, I'm not even saying this guy's not, I haven't looked into him yet. I'm just saying, on paper, if that's the case, this is my hypothesis, is that the greatest threat to corrupt action in the world is righteousness. It's always been that way. But we pretend it's not. See, look, they'll just grab guns and shoot. They'll just grab guns and shoot you down, so we need our own guns. Meanwhile, shit moves when people do nonviolent things. Go to whoever you want to. I mean, once again, they could have personal flaws, but look at the actions on the surface and the way they're celebrated today. Gandhi's name lives forever now. Martin Luther King's name lives forever now. Guess what? Jesus, the name lives forever. There's something like, maybe there's something where people just naturally like, yeah, you can't just be against them. Like, you can maybe disagree philosophically, but you can't harm them. You can't deal with them with guns. You have to deal with them with your words because they're clearly nonviolent. So what usually happens is shady people find shady ways to either harm these people, kill these people, or, like in this guy's case, in prison. And it's like, it's like almost like we all know. We all know. I mean, these Antifa guys. Let's say they don't break windows and light cars on fire anymore, if they even do that. I can't even say I know. Let's say they just show up in fucking, what's it, balloon animal outfits like that, like Pepe the Frog. wait, hold on. I gotta show that shit. It's too fucking funny to me. The Ken Burns documentary, bro. What if they're all this? What if they're all this? And yeah, look at the dangerous on our dangerous streets of Portland. Criminals everywhere. Let's say this was their reaction. A bunch of balloon animals standing in protest, dancing. Not saying that's the way I would do it. I'm just saying, A, it's hilarious, and B, it's like, what threat? Isn't that the main point? What fucking threat? Oh, you're one of those cunty people that have to make shit up in order to do other harmful things. Got it. That's what it shows. That's why not, in my opinion, once again, you don't have to believe me, or you don't have to think the way I think, but that's my position, is that nonviolence, it's too much to fuck with. It's too much. And guess what? It takes more courage to do. I know movies tell you the other way, but no. Nonviolence is actually the most courageous thing you could possibly do. Go ask Jesus himself. To stand up in front of corruption and say, fuck you. But also, I would never harm you, though. Like, hey, man, maybe you're secretly one of us, but you don't realize it yet. So you know what? I'm going to talk to you. And good luck with that. Good luck with that. What do you do to that person? Well, you got to subvert them somehow. And we allow it. It's funny enough. When MLK got killed, once again, just going with he could have some secret life of some weird shit, whatever. On the surface, the way people viewed him back then and even now today, for the most part, is nonviolent, political action activist type of guy. When that guy died, right, once again, his main thing was mainly like nonviolence and, religious words to say why we should be doing righteous things in the world. When he got killed, what did a lot of people do? They rioted. They blew shit up. They broke windows. They set buildings on fire. Like, just throwing away everything that guy was doing, at least on the surface in their minds. And it's like, what are we, fucking stupid? Holy Christ. When this is going to sound dark, but when some guy leading in this righteous way, once again, on the surface, if that guy goes down, let's say he's like the voice leader, maybe not the leader, but the vocal leader, the guy we see on camera, the guy that does the speeches. When they go down, if they get shot and killed, or killed in whatever sort of way, it's next man up. That's it. What are you going to do, kill us all? That takes courage. That takes real courage. That takes courage that has teammates called morality, integrity, righteousness, intelligence. Not just, I'm big mad, I'm going to go break something. God. But reading this last part here. I know. Candace is going to tell us about Charlie Kirk's medical exam. I get it. Sorry, but I find this stuff important too. If you are not pushing for Barghouti's release, you do not want an end to the conflict. You want permanent war and occupation. As you can see here, there's charts. Once again, I can't corroborate this. I haven't looked into it enough, but if this guy is the nonviolent guy, and if he was anywhere in Palestine without being killed, anywhere in Gaza without being killed, and he's projected to be like a winner of their elections, the nonviolent guy, the projected winner, which is kind of crazy, right? Because they say, look, they voted in Hamas, see? Meanwhile, this guy might have been floating around. And now he's the number one option. Like, wait a minute, this violent war, so it doesn't work. Let's go with extra nonviolence. Well, not saying he's that, but I'm saying potentially, if that's the case, you'll see it. You know, it is what it is. And one last thing before we get to Candace Owens. I just want to make sure Trump fans don't feel left out, like I'm just dogpiling on them, because the Democrats are just as bad. Samantha Power, which worked under the Obama administration, did she work under Biden too? I think it was Barack Obama. Samantha Power secretly colluded with Israel to enhance UN role. Leaked emails show. Power lobbied for Israel's inclusion on key UN committees and whitewashed its abuses, while Israel fed her a dodgy dossier on Syrian chemical weapons. Now, if you remember, we went to a covert war with Syria that ended recently, right, in 2024, under the Biden administration. But let's be honest, was helped during the Trump administration and then supported after Assad left power and this Al Qaeda guy took over. And their excuse in the Obama years of why they were bombing or funding quote unquote rebels, aka Al Qaeda and ISIS in Syria, was because Assad dropped chemical weapons on them. Assad denied it. They showed us no proof, no evidence. There was no investigation. In fact, one of the investigations I saw showed that what's their fucking name? I'm fucking her name up. But something about like chemical weapons proliferation. The OCPW? Is that it? Might be fucking that up. But yeah, they when you see some of their internal investigations, like, you guys look kind of dodgy itself. Like you guys fudged the numbers to make it look a certain way. And certain things we just already understood, right? Like in Trump's first term, bombing Syria in April. We're like, oh my God, the beautiful babies. Ivanka called me and she said, wow, there's all these babies, the beautiful babies. So I have to bomb Syria. And he bombed Syria, right? Because of a chemical weapons attack. And he did it like the night after. It's like, where's your fucking evidence for this? They don't show us any evidence when they do these things. I thought that was a big deal with the whole Iraq war thing. Which is ironic and crazy because those guys tried to show as much evidence as they could. Meanwhile, they were just lying the whole time. But then, don't worry, Trump did it again the following year, so he didn't learn his lesson from the first time. Biden is in office, Assad falls, Trump shakes the hand of the new leader. The big, strong, big shoulders, big, strong man, big, handsome, beautiful man. Wow, what a warrior. Shakes his hand and says, you know what? We're taking off sanctions because Syria, they're good guys now. Now that our Al Qaeda asset is in there, we know it's all good now. It's all good for us. We can start building McDonald's tomorrow. But there you go. There's some other news stories for you. Sure, most of you skipped all this part. I've skipped this part. But there you go. All right, let's move on to the main event of the evening. I'm going to close the chat because sometimes it eeks the fucking stream. It's time! All right, let's just go into it. Let's go into Candace Owens. Pause. Revelations, the truth about Charlie's medical report. Here we go.
All right, you guys, happy Thursday. Last show until I take a much-needed break.
add some
And it's
volume
going to
to
be a
this.
good one. As always, as we continue this investigation, we are definitively getting closer. So what do we recall? Well, we were told that Charlie just had healthy bones, that it was a miracle that the gun did not take his neck out and that his spine somehow stopped it. I can now officially debunk that Marvel storyline and therefore refocus our investigation on what actually happened on 9/10 because I have new information and I'm presenting it to the public today. Plus, later on in the show, Josh Hammer has emerged. You know, he's the one that thinks that all white men, all white European men are anti-Semitic. Well, he is now releasing text messages between him and Charlie that literally prove absolutely nothing other than that Josh Hammer is a dummy and didn't realize that the text messages make his storyline somehow even less credulous. Good news is that he at least didn't plug his book. Welcome back to Candace.
Okay, I'm gonna skip her stupid song, but it is kind of wild her wearing a CIA hat. That's just funny as fuck to me. Oh, I get it. She's like, it's a brand name. They're like, oh, Candace Investigative Agency or whatever the fuck it's called, right? It's like, what if it was like a little wink and a nod, like, I'm just saying, she says some weird shit sometimes, bro. She's definitely a psycho. All right, here we go.
And obviously, we have a lot to unpack before I go on vacation. I'm looking forward to reading. I'm also looking forward to
Yo, are you recording?
discussing a lot of the information that is coming.
Yes,
to
I
me
am.
And researching.
Fuck, I can't hear you.
The
I'm
place that
sorry.
we should start on today's show is with, well, I first and foremost have to tell you right at the top, I can't tell you exactly who the information came from or which parties were involved in giving me this information because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I can say that I have positively verified something about the injury that Charlie sustained to his neck that I think is going to go a very long way in terms of helping those of us who have been sleuthing, those of us who want answers, those of us who are dedicating our time to this because what we are being told by the authorities.
Can you hear me now?
Belief, as John and Narina
Yes.
Mappin said, it just simply
Okay.
beggars.
Yeah, are you
belief.
recording?
We also want to
swear I
make
just
sure
said
that we
yes.
are presenting
Yes.
evidence
Sorry.
and debunking.
Sorry,
whatever
my
we
audio wasn't
can,
recording.
so that
Listen.
all
I want
of
to show you
us
the
collectively-
swing later, bro.
Listen,
Sorry.
Josh, listen. Candace is going to show us the real medical report, okay? Get out of her way, okay?
Well, bro, this guy's swing looks like A-Rod. I'm trying to show you later, bro. It looks dope.
All right. Tell me later. All right, guys, let's continue.
zero in and build upon whatever facts we have
How
in
dare
this
you get in Candace's
decentralized
way.
investigation. This is about the injury, okay? So Andrew Kovats was, I can tell you, telling the truth in part when he wrote that very long tweet in which he tried to explain why there was no exit wound. Do you recall this? Long story short, he said, I'm going to read it. I want to address some of the things that the lack of an exit wound, about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize if this is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc., but it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable, miraculous. Now, keep that up for just a second because it's really around here. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel that we just went, something's not right. Something not right. A lot of stuff's not right. I just don't know why a surgeon would be saying something that actually only the medical examiner, somebody that specializes in forensics, could really contribute. Yes, a surgeon can
not
tell you,
that
or
weird,
actually
Candace.
any person with common sense can tell you that your bone density is better when you're younger. But this seemed a little bit too performative. Now, I can tell you The part
Someone
he is
could say
telling us
that to be
about
nice, like, "Oh,
is
Charlie
that
saved
Charlie's
lives."
neck indeed did stop the bullet without question. Okay. And this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there.
Not sure.
And I'm telling you this 100%. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front, and the bullet did not exit. And at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from
Stopped in his neck?
multiple sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week. Right around here. So think about almost in line with your shoulder blade right in the center. Now, why is that helpful? Because it gives us a bullet trajectory, okay? We went in here where you saw that, and it was stopped, and a fragment was pulled from, think right, if you're just touching your spine in line with your shoulder blade. That leads us,
What?
obviously, to the part that he's maybe not being forthcoming about. They did not recover a bullet from a 30-06. They didn't.
Okay. Wouldn't a regular bullet bounce around? Even like a, you're a gun enthusiast, Josh, right? Isn't it like a handgun? Even wouldn't that bounce around? Or am I tripping?
Yeah, if it's a hollow point, yeah.
Hmm.
Did she say what type of bullet it was?
No, she's just saying it's definitely not a 30-06. She's saying right now, but she better have fucking receipts of some sort to showcase this.
Well, does she say that there are bullet fragments? What does she say? Is it?
She said they recovered a fragment, and it's like in the, like between the shoulder blades, like right in the middle between the shoulder blades, up closer to where the neck is.
A fragment?
I believe she says a fragment. We'll find out. We'll find out though. I don't know. All right, here we go.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Here we go.
They did not recover a bullet from a 30-06. They didn't recover a bullet from a 30-06. It just didn't happen, okay? If they had found a 30-06 bullet, Charlie's death certificate certainly would have reflected that. In suicide situations, as just one example, medical examiners, feel free to chime in. I've spoken to quite a few. But when the gun and the bullet are known, they are reflected onto the death certificate, okay? There is not one reflected onto Charlie Kirk's death certificate because they did not recover a bullet from a 30-06. Hunters and military men rejoice. It turns out that common sense still rules the roost, okay?
So what'd they write?
You guys were right. You were absolutely right. And this is why I hate politics, because it requires us to submit to the idea that we were all somehow born yesterday, that it really can just, life really can just be a Marvel comic with people that are, I guess, a DC comic where there are men of steel that are able, because they're young, to stop 3,000 pounds of energy that is coming at them. That didn't happen. So where does that leave us, guys? Well, the part that is now extraordinarily suspicious is that Andrew is claiming that he had a conversation with the surgeon who offered up the idea that it really was just your modern Christian miracle, that Charlie was just young and his bones had a lot of density, which made him stronger somehow than a Cape Buffalo, enough push-ups and asparagus, and you too can stop 3,000 pounds of energy coming at you. What are we to make of that? What are we to make of the fact that Charlie did not do that, actually? It means that he was shot with a completely different kind of gun, obviously, okay? The kind where this would make sense, that it didn't cut through him. The kind where it would make sense that outside of an artery effectively exploding from the front, there was, his neck didn't explode, which that particular weapon that they were trying to tell us Charlie was killed with would have gone through
Mike died for
7 necks, okay? You will recall that throughout all of this, or during this mayhem rather, there were people who were insisting, by the way, that were on the ground, the witnesses that were insisting that they heard multiple shots. That's another element of this. But those individuals were not the ones that were awarded with mainstream media interviews. In fact, one guy, and this kind of went viral at the time, even got pushed, physically pushed, and was not given the ability to speak at all. They shut him up. It looked, if we were just examining the situation, it certainly looked like Turning Point employees or staff or students thugged him so that he wouldn't say what he thought happened. Let's take a listen to that clip that has gone viral.
I was standing from probably
I
the
saw
third
this.
row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
I will say this is fucking weird.
Emotions are running high right now.
We can see dummies doing that.
Certainly
but
emotions were running high. He was just trying to speak and to say what he saw. And interestingly, though, if you think through what he said there, he said, I was in the third row, right? And a shot rang out and I looked to my left and I looked to my right. Now, we're not specific on where exactly he was standing, but if a high-powered rifle came from 250 yards behind you, you'd probably look back first, right? Like common sense, if you heard the sound coming from behind you, you would look back, probably even before your brain came online. Your instinct would be to duck and to make sure that you're not going to get hit by something that's coming from behind you. Now, to clarify immediately here and to again debunk some other internet conspiracy theories, that is not Andrew Colvett in that video. A lot of people were like, is this Andrew Colvett from Turning Point USA hiding under a hat? It is not true.
No.
I spoke to Andrew on this actual day. He definitively flew in to Utah after the shooting took place. He was not therefore on the ground. But the person that is in that video, as soon as I just put up a picture and I said, I'd like to identify this person, his friend first left a nasty comment, like, why are you trying to look out for this guy? He did the right thing. How dare we ask questions? Like, how dare we try to get testimony from anybody else that day? Kind of then messages me privately because I reached out and I'm like, I'm just trying to confirm the story. And I reached out and he says to me, well, and I'm paraphrasing here, he doesn't want to speak to you. He doesn't want to speak to media because he's been instructed not to speak to media because he's gotten the Turning Point chapter into trouble before for speaking out in the media. And he just doesn't want to do that. And I said, that seems very strange to me. What are you saying to me? You have a TPUSA person who can't speak out about things. There were tons of people that were talking about their testimonies. It's very odd. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, you're telling me that Turning Point USA, sent around a text and said, nobody speak to the media. That was his excuse, by the way, for why he shut that guy up. People were saying, oh, they're not allowed to speak to the media. So they were just doing what they were told.
What? Yeah. Y'all are some fucking weirdos. Once again, I could see like some sort of dumb thing about that, trying to like contain all the information that's out there and trying to, like, why are you thinking about protecting the brand in these moments? Like, sure, it's stupid, but like, on top of it, it's just, I could see like a reason for it, but at the same time, like, it still just screams weird in the way they did that. Like, it's like TPUSA saying, we're not going to release I think I saw this on Candace's thing, or I think I heard that excuse on there where they're like, oh, we're not going to show the 4K, fucking 10 million frames per second video that will give you a clue towards that type of evidence because people will abuse it. That's why the guy ran up and stole the tapes immediately because someone's going to steal it and then put it on the internet and everyone's going to see it. It's going to hurt Charlie's family and like, well, someone literally hurt Charlie. So like, people want to find out why or find out answers or how or whatever the fuck. It's like you guys are a part of history and you're within hours trying to snuff it out already. How are you doing work to try to clean the fucking thing up hours after your friend got killed? That's crazy. These people are fucking either robots or there could be something sus going on with them. So, but all right, let's keep going. Here we go.
Well, then it's kind of interesting. You should know that I then determined that the person doing the shoving is first and foremost not a Turning Point USA employee. He is beyond that, not a student at UVU. He is not
Yeah,
a
he looked older.
Turning Point USA student, therefore, either. He was actually brought in as a volunteer, which I found to be quite strange. Like, look, I've done a lot of campus stops.
Oh, that's weird.
And typically it's the chapter of that school that does everything. It's the chapter that handles everything. Now, bigger events, they certainly work with other organizations. And
Candace might be
it's
cooking, man.
possible,
I don't know.
I guess. It registered to me as odd that a volunteer would have the courage to shut down a kid that's speaking in that way, in that aggressive manner. I would imagine Turning Point would tell their volunteers not to get physical with students on campus. But what do I know?
Yeah.
I just have common sense. Now, how do I know that he is not a Turning Point USA employee and he is not a UVU or Turning Point USA student? Well, because despite him stopping a college kid from speaking about what he heard, that young man, whose name is Cooper, and I'm very comfortable telling you this because, well, he went on Fox News that very night to provide eyewitness testimony to exactly what he heard and what he saw, because apparently he was the person that was holding the mic when the shot rang out. Take a listen to what he told Jesse Waters on the night of.
Cooper Brown was an event volunteer who was just feet away from Charlie who got shot. Cooper, what happened?
Yeah, so this requires a little bit of background knowledge, but so I work for an organization called Leadership Institute, and what we do is we work hand in hand with all the different conservative coalition groups on college campuses. So the Young Americans for Liberty, the Students for Life, and the Turning Point USAs. And so at Utah Valley, we had been really, really excited to be able to host Charlie Kirk this semester. And we had spent weeks and weeks and weeks getting volunteers, advertising for this event, and just so excited to be able to host Charlie Kirk at this university. And then unfortunately it had to end in absolute tragedy.
So I'm trying to get in touch with this individual once I realized that not only did he speak the night of, he also spoke on Fox News the very next day, which would mean what? Did Turning Point USA, I don't know the answer to this, I'm asking genuinely, did they say speak to this person who's not actually a TPUSA student, but he was there? I don't know how this works. But the next day, sure enough, he appeared on Fox News again. And I'm not sure if we had that clip, Skylar, but if we do, let's roll it.
That day we had 30 or so student volunteers that were designated roles that were going to be helping pass out Turning Point USA merchandise and getting people signed up for the event. And my responsibility was, when the event actually started, to help manage just the microphone. So something simple as just raising it and lowering it, making sure students were able to speak into it clearly. And I thought this was a fantastic opportunity to be up really, really close, to be able to witness all the amazing dialogue that was going to be happening on campus.
Couple of things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving Candace points for this because that's fucking weird. If this is the guy that stopped that one kid from talking, but then goes on to do TV interviews after, that's just weird. That's extremely bizarre. I'm gonna let her keep going. Candace out here cooking, bruh. All right, here we go.
That was going to be happening on campus.
All right, Candace.
Couple of things about Cooper Brown that to me is a bit of a mystery at this moment. First and foremost, you provide witness testimony. You start doing the rounds on Fox News. You are fair game, okay? I'm going to start asking questions because I need to know everything. Everything's got to fit neatly into my timeline. So in trying to reach out to him and in publicly posting, hey, I'm trying to identify this individual, I received a ton of emails. One email said, hey, I'm actually his cousin, and here is his number. Now, I noticed that cousin happens to live in Phoenix, Arizona. So I went and just checked some profiles on social media. I found some Browns,
Bro.
but they were all living in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, maybe this person's from Phoenix, Arizona. Well, actually, when I went through what he has as his resume on this website where he says that he works with this institute, I couldn't fact check any of the things. Went to school a minor, a very small college in New Hampshire. I'm from the Northeast. If you're going to school in New Hampshire, especially not the University of New Hampshire, you can go ahead and bet that you're going to be a local. So I'm looking for a kid that's from New Hampshire to go to this tiny school. I found someone from that name with his name, but it was actually a girl that had that name and graduated in the year that he says that he graduated in. He doesn't look to me like he just graduated college, but according to his resume, he did. And the number that she gives me, which is the first thing that registers to me as odd, is it's a Utah. It's a Phoenix-based number. So I'm going, who is this person, and why is it linking that number to somebody else who is 32 years old and has that same last name? I don't know. I intend to get those answers, but there's something here that strikes me as a little bit odd, especially given the fact that as a volunteer, as he expresses there, they decided to allow him to hold the microphone. That's supposed to be like kind of an honor at Utah events. Turning Point USA kids work really hard to put these events on. They decide who's going to hold the microphone. They went with a volunteer. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Okay? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. So if you went to the Southern New Hampshire University with this Cooper Brown and you majored with him in politics,
Oh my gosh, she's
and
squeezing him.
you can provide some insight, I'd like to hear from you. I am, again, asking these questions publicly because we are getting no answers from Turning Point USA or the feds or anything that makes any practical sense in this scenario. Why was everything so brand new on this day?
Okay. Fair enough with the Cooper Brown person or whatever. But you did start off with the medical examiner thing, and that's in your title right now. So I thought she would provide some receipts for that to showcase, oh, it was a different caliber bullet. But you're also confirming you got shot from the front. And how do you know that? Maybe she talked with lawyers and they're like, yeah, you can't say this yet. Wait until it's public news. Or she doesn't want to burn a source or something like that. But I feel as though, like, why even say that? You already said you have your dead man switch activated or whatever. You know, Kanye West's gonna release fucking the Charlie Kirk files if something happens to you. So I don't understand why you would even bring it up unless you were sure you can divulge what's the receipts for it, right? I mean, I understand she's also trying to do a TV show. Like, it's pretty obvious to me. But so you just say that stuff, and it's like, all right, anyways. So hopefully she goes back to that. Something tells me she's not. She's gonna move on to what's the fuckface? Is it Josh Hammer? She's move on to fuckface and show how dumb he is, I guess. All right, here we go. Fuck it, I'm already here on the ride. Let's do it. Pause.
Now, for those of you that are still caught up in what I just told you, which is that for a fact, Charlie was shot from the front. So we know the bullet trajectory. There's no games here. There's no magic
read my mind.
bullets. It's a smaller weapon, okay? Your ears didn't betray you. My ears didn't betray me. We definitely did hear a very recognizable sound of a rifle shot, but I'm telling you that Charlie wasn't hit with that rifle. And there is not a medical examiner's report or a death certificate which will stipulate otherwise. It doesn't exist. So what exactly are the feds building their case on? Vibes or sheer corruption? Because I'm thinking it might be the latter. And who would be the person that can make that fit? Look, I did receive a tip, and guess what? There was another person in this never-ending, brand new cast of characters that was also involved in this story, and this person in an email insisted to me that this is somebody that we should look further into. That's the medical examiner. It is a woman named Dr. Deidre Weiss Amaro. Deidre Weiss Amaro is her name.
Another
she flew in
squeeze.
from California. She was announced as the new state medical examiner in May of 2024. From Missouri. I think she also worked at some point in California, and she was announced as the new Utah medical examiner, state Utah medical examiner in May of 2024. So I'm interested in learning as much as I can about this medical examiner. I'd like to know more about this medical examiner. And if you've got something, you know her personally, got a story, please do send it to us at moretips@candaceowens.com.
You're supposed. Aren't you supposed to like really? Maybe she tried and they didn't. Like we're not talking to you or something like that. But you can't, even if they're innocent, Candace, you can't expect them to just talk to you, right? They're like normies, right? So they're going to look for official bodies. She's a medical examiner, a state medical examiner. She's already a government employee. So she's going to look for, like, okay, police, feds, politicians, the governor or some shit like that, or the senator. She'll respond to those guys probably, but to Candace Owens, they might not respond. And now she's being squeezed. She's a part of the Candace Owens victims where they're being kind of, I don't know, like comfortable life blackmailed or something, giving it Candace information, basically. But all right, let's keep going. Here we go.
Now,
So no
it is
receipts yet, still.
possible, given what we know about Fed-type operations and what we know about the JFK shooting, which we are still not allowed to know the truth about, but we all know what the truth is, that there are
Lee Harvey
often
Oswald.
decoys, even
Sorry,
decoy
Lee Oswald
sounds,
Harvey.
that it is totally plausible that there were
Shout out
multiple
Magic
people
Bullet.
there that day who found out, maybe even in the last hour, which one of them is going to take the shot, right? It is likely that a rifle was fired to muffle the sound of a smaller gun, which maybe actually kind of had to, if we're considering the trajectory that I'm telling you, here to here, kind of had to come from the front of Charlie. And I will say that is now my well-informed opinion that we are looking for a person that was a lot closer to Charlie and likely in the audience. And that goes a long way, by the way, in terms of trying to explain why they're maybe hiding the footage from behind Charlie's head. Maybe that is the reason that footage was so crucial, first and foremost. Now, there are tons of other cameras. That one gets grabbed first. It seems to me that there's a lot of hiding and there's definitively a lot of lying that's going on. I told you, Tyler Boyer lied. He just lied. The person who took the cameras down was absolutely not instructed to do so by law enforcement. He just wasn't, okay? So why say that? Also, why grab the one behind his head first? Of all the cameras, why that one first and foremost? And when I actually think about the clip that I was shown, it was more to the right. I actually feel that there is this remarkable blind spot on the left of Charlie, which is why I was asking if anybody had footage, not footage if you're sitting there and taking footage this way, but if you are Charlie, I want to see what he would have seen looking slightly to his left.
Would that camera have had? I thought that camera was more so like up high and looking kind of down at Charlie, which means if it's someone deeper in the, like, let's say to Charlie's left in the crowd, it'd be maybe hard to see that. Maybe it does capture that. I don't know, but it feels like there's so many cell phone cameras around and people, scrolling back and forth and all this shit. I figured that would get captured if it came from the crowd. That's crazy. If that came from the crowd, that's kind of crazy. But what Candace was saying reminded me of the Valhalla VFT video where he says the way it sounds, and he showed a video of people reacting a certain way, like the gunshot goes off, but there's like at first they're not even like flinching or like holy shit, what was that? It's more so that they're like slowly looking around. Then someone yells, "He got shot," and then they start ducking to the ground, like afterwards, like almost like they didn't hear like a loud fucking crack. You know what I mean? And he was like, maybe it was a smaller caliber bullet with a silencer on it. That was the idea he brought up. Then you have the Peak Prosperity guy, the guy doing all the, trying to use physics to prove his case or another, or to go over evidence through physics. And you're saying like, well, what if the guy was over here? And it's like, there's a building that's closer that would have an angle to where if he got, based on his calibration of the physics of the scenario, that it could hit some sort of bone in there and kind of deflect more downward instead of just going straight through his neck. So if you combine those together, maybe there's something there. I have never heard. The only thing I've heard from the crowd, from him being shot from the crowd, is the brown shirt guy, right? One of the security dudes that are way closer. And some people were saying, like, oh, he has like a pen gun or something like that. I don't know though. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be hard for someone to shoot a gun in the crowd without being noticed, unless it's some sort of contraption, right? What if it's like almost like turret style? You know what I mean? Like I don't know much about guns and weaponry, but I'm thinking of like video games, like Call of Duty, right? Like a turret, except it's just sitting in one spot, and maybe you build a camera, the body of a camera around it, and you put a silencer on it, and you have it shoot out of the fucking camera lens and hit Charlie. I'd leave that as a possibility. I mean, if you're doing some professional operation, I don't think you're gonna have a guy pull a fucking gun out of his pocket, just aim and shoot when there's like 10 million fucking cameras everywhere. I mean, as Charlie's talking, there's people with their cell phones up in their hand. There's people with straight up like full HD cameras, by the way, in the crowd, filming Charlie as well. And let's be real, they're gonna pan around. They're like, look at all these people here, right? Someone's gonna pan around. At the moment of the shot, people with cameras that are behind an alleged shooter that's in the crowd, they would maybe capture something, right? Kind of like triangulate. What else? I think it was the Valhalla guy again, where I think it was the Peak Prosperity guy who showed like just based on sound the reactions of people. It's like people that were in, let's say you're sitting in Charlie's seat, to the left and closer. It looked like they reacted first, according to this guy's video footage. But once again, it's too much things missing. Too many things missing for me to like really know. But that's another idea to throw out there. Yeah, I don't know. Someone from the crowd, that'd be wild if they pulled that off. And once again, I could believe like a camera, some sort of like automatic, like a gun that it sits on a mount and you press a button and it shoots a fucking bullet out. But it's dressed up like a camera, maybe. But I can't say I know. I don't know. And it seems like Candace is implying that she read some form of a medical exam or possibly the tags on the medical exam that never specifically said 30-06. Maybe it said something else. But for some reason she can't say that, I guess. But she's implying like, oh, I know this is the case. She's kind of saying it that way. But I don't know. Let's let Candace keep going. I'm going to throw out those theories that people have been saying that may corroborate what Candace is saying, or at least put it in the neighborhood of what she's saying. So, all right, here we go.
By the way, despite the fact that we had this amazing cast of characters, all these Caldera engineering connected people who made it to the mainstream media to talk about what they heard, there was actually one eyewitness there who could not be shoved out of the way and was able to make his way onto Fox News immediately after to provide a description of where he believed the shot came from, and that's Jason Chaffetz, right? Jason Chaffetz is a former politician and a Fox News contributor who was a witness to this event because he is from Utah. He attended this event. He apparently was in communication with Charlie ahead of the event. And I have to say that of everyone that day, he's maybe one of the few people that I would say on the mainstream media that seemed genuinely shaken by the event. He went live, was speaking through what he saw, what he heard, what he was expecting, and he was rebutting, because he was on a couple of shows, rebutting the idea that the shot was from far away. That's very interesting to consider. You got a bunch of kids who are trying to speak and they're getting censored. Then you have a bunch of people that are giving a platform and they seem weird, right? Tiffany Barker on Good Morning America, vibes were weird there. Okay, not assigning any necessarily badness to her, but didn't feel right. Jason Chaffetz, however, genuinely, when I looked through the footage, he seemed shaken by the event. And let's hear where Jason Chaffetz says he believes the shot came from. Take a listen.
Being there, seeing it within proximity, it seemed like it was a close shot. The venue is such that there's a 4-story building, which is the administrative building to the south. The other buildings around the side are not quite so high, but you could be on the second level and watch Charlie. The police had moved the people. There were some people that were above Charlie, so that awning that you're seeing there, there's a place to be there, but the police moved people out to the sides. And so you couldn't be right above where you were at. But if I had to guess, and again, it's still raw, but if I had to guess and give a police statement right here, right now, today, see where that water is? It looked to me like it was in close proximity, straight ahead, right in that area.
Yeah, we're looking at
if I had to guess. Again,
It's quite interesting. And then elsewhere, when he's on Fox News and people are saying the shot was from like the Losey building, he doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that. By the way, Jason Chaffetz, he's been honest about his background. His parents are in the government. They're literally in the FBI. So he's telling you that shot was closer. So what gives? Also, why is everybody telling lies? I want to be very clear. It's possible that the people at Turning Point are simply terrified. That's definitely a possibility here. They are very much aware of what these people are capable of. And maybe they're just trying to get by. And they're being told what to say and what to do. And they want to keep the peace. But here's what I think may have happened. I think that I accidentally ruined the Fed narrative. I think the plan was to never allow the back footage of Charlie to see the light of day. Never was allowed to see the light of day. That way, they were going to say that they recovered a 30-06 bullet, right? Instantly, we recovered a 30-06 bullet. They were maybe when they were digging stuff up and there it was and it went through, we wouldn't have known, we would have been none the wiser, right? No one else is telling us anything or showing us anything. And I think they were going to say, or the other option, like it completely took his neck out. We wouldn't have been any wiser. But then I watched it, and the thing that jumped out at me was that not only did the bullet not pierce through, that there wasn't a single dot of blood on Charlie's bleach white shirt until he falls out of frame and onto the ground. I think we accidentally ruined what they were going to try to do to frame this. I think they wanted this to be a 30-06 narrative. And now they're going to have a lot of difficulty getting that through a courtroom. They panicked. They tried to explain it away. They're saying that it's a miracle. I don't think it is. It obviously was not a miracle. I think it is likely that what we should be looking for are 2 people that had weapons that day. Somebody that was in the audience, somebody that was elsewhere with a rifle. That explains also why, by the way, when I take a look, there's so many adults. There's no UVU kids that were in the mainstream media. Cooper's not even a UVU kid. He's not a TPUS kid. Why were they not able to find UVU students to say what it is that they heard and what they saw that day? And what's really interesting is I told you guys already about Nick, who has been assisting me on the ground. And one of the first things he said to me was that I felt like they were coming around, the feds were coming around, and they were trying to implant memories into our heads. So he was like, I felt like there were these people walking around that we didn't recognize, and they were like, you heard one shot, we heard one shot, we heard one shot. And he's like, I know that sounds weird and conspiratorial, but it seems like they were trying to make us believe that this is what we heard. And it's interesting also because remember, when Phil Lyman gave us his footage and he walks outside of that building, the 2 now infamous goth girls who are not goth at all and they're just wearing black, they say that they heard 2 shots. They never made it to Fox News. They never made it to the mainstream media, but they too also said that they heard 2 shots. Take a listen.
You see where that came from? It was right here, wasn't it?
It was like over here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be fair. Like, isn't it because the buildings are like so enclosed? It's possible that you can hear the shot and then an echo, possibly. But then again, if he's shooting from that faraway building, I don't know. There's times where you hear like loud noises and it feels like you hear it twice almost. I can't say I know, but maybe they did hear that. I mean, there's got to be, once again, everyone there has a fucking cell phone. We can probably assume that, and this ain't even to sound crazy, like, maybe it does sound a little crazy. If I said like a third had their phones like recording, probably not, maybe not a third, but I think enough phones, right? At least more than like 10, right? It's gonna be at least more than 10 cell phones alone, let alone like digital cameras and like straight up studio style cameras and all that shit. There should be so many ways to calculate sound and triangulate with that shit and hear whether or not there's two shots or not. There's plenty of like, forensic from audio to video to all of it. But somehow we're not seeing it. Also, I just want to throw out, since we're in conspiracy world anyways, I think, once again, this is one of those stories where it feels like 97% of people are like, this is a conspiracy. I might as well throw ideas that are just way out there. And I think about like, what, man, if I was a devil worshipping asshole and I set up a plot to kill someone, is it possible you hire 3, 2, 3, 4 different people to shoot and kill Charlie Kirk? And maybe if let's say there's 4 people there, right? Maybe I'm exaggerating. Let's say there's 4 people there to shoot Charlie Kirk that day, and 3 of the people's guns don't go off. And they're like, oh fuck, they're setting me up. Maybe the one guy that does take the shot is in on it. Maybe he's not. Just for the idea of plausible deniability of, no one knows who did what and when. I'm just saying. I have to throw these theories out there at this point because, once again, we don't have enough information. And Candace is right. They showed us the fucking rifle. I mean, as soon as they showed that rifle, all the gun enthusiasts and ex-military people and ex-cops or current cops and current military, whatever, people that are just gun enthusiasts, they were all like, nope, that's not it. There's no way that's the case. That's it. From the scope to what they recognize as the caliber of bullet that would fire from that gun. That's when the story, like, yeah, this is not right. And I mean, that's within minutes of them showing the fucking gun. People were instantly on Twitter, that I saw at least, were like, nah, there's no way this gun did that. Put like a relatively small hole in his neck and then stop there. So, yeah. I wonder what the court hearings will be like. And they might not even show us for all we know, but yeah. And before, I think it was Dubster that told me, somebody was telling me like, oh, well, it's in Utah, right? It's not a federal case. But if they say this kid is an Antifa, Antifa activist, terrorist group, Antifa, that could make it federal in a way. As in, like, look, Antifa was supporting them and helping them. Thus, it's like the crime kind of crossing lines, state lines. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Or it's a case of terrorism to where you can just hold these honest-to-God secret courts. They can do that because of the war on terror. They are now able to do shit like that. But, all right. Let's keep playing. Here we go. Rules bend when it's terrorism.
I think it's pretty obvious that our instincts about this have been correct from the very beginning. We probably need to be now looking for a shooter that was in the audience and to the left. I've seen you guys. I saw some guy on Alex Jones that created he created a whole web and explained and did this all on a computer of where the trajectory would have to go. We need you again, ballistic YouTubers, gun people, gun enthusiasts, military men, the people that they're discounting and saying you have no right to get clicks. No, please get clicks. Explain to us what it is that you know in this decentralized intelligent agency, given the information that I am telling you, okay, that unless we have a bullet that's doing the worm like a WWE wrestler, okay? Bullets.
Oh my God, she knows that. Did Candace watch wrestling? Why does she know Scotty Too Hottie for? What the hell? Candace is out here cooking, bro. I'm here for it. She's still psychopathic Oprah to me, though. All right, here we go.
A bullet that's doing the worm like a WWE wrestler. Okay,
Scotty
bullets
too
fire
hotty.
straight, and this one went straight into the front left lower side of his neck, essentially exploded his artery, and did not exit out of the back. But that is where a bullet fragment was found. So map it out for us.
Okay, so
There's something else that I would like to point to that is getting interesting, and that is
You haven't showed us
regarding
receipts on that, though,
Caldera Engineering.
Candace.
Caldera Engineering. Now, I said from the very beginning that this company was shady. It flagged me as weird. All I was trying to do at that point was not looking to Caldera Engineering, but rather to track down the footage. Irwin Steel, this steel, so many steels were involved. It turns out the steels are big with Caldera Engineering. And things aren't adding up with this company, okay? It's just not adding up with this company. And I can tell you, I was receiving information from people who work with valves, who have been in the industry for 30 years, that live nearby, and said, I have never heard of Caldera Engineering. That's not normal. I've never heard of them. I've never worked with them. I've never received any of their valves. Something's not right here, right? I knew something wasn't right, but you can't just always go off of just, we know something's not right. We have to figure out what exactly it is that is incorrect here. Then I also decided to prod the narrative further. Another person gave us a tip and said, hey, did you know that there's literally someone who works at Caldera Engineering who is a professional actor? Like no background in engineering, went to school for theater, worked in theater, was in plays, was involved in plays. I looked through everything, went through it. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why is he suddenly at Caldera Engineering? Like not later in life, just like randomly on his resume is Caldera Engineering. Why are they hiring gay actors?
PR?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm telling you guys what are the things that I have stumbled upon.
PR department?
Then somebody emailed us, and this was strange. We have not been able to corroborate this. We can tell you the link was real, and that but we don't know if the internet was scraping and got things incorrect. But there was an Israeli individual who was listed as the founder of Caldera Engineering. We obviously know that Caldera Engineering had said that they did projects according to their website in Israel. I don't know what projects they worked on. We weren't able to corroborate currently that individual is still working with the company. We don't know if this was accidental. Sometimes the internet can do some funny things and scrape and put information where it doesn't belong. This particular individual has a very long background in engineering in Israel. Maybe it's because they work together, and that's the internet thought that this person was the founder and the individual was not. But it's piquing our interest now.
I still have no clue what Caldera is.
Confused, I would say, at best,
other than
about
Warzone.
this company, because when we wanted to go back and just determine who the founders were, well, just our bad luck. A company was established in 1997, so you won't be able to get those formation LLC docs. You can find LLC docs in general, but they didn't start digitizing those until the early 2000s, so you're not going to get anything where you're going to be able to see the actual formation docs. You can see changes they made in the early 2000s. You can see who the manager or the president, all of that stuff we found. But I would love to find those base formation docs. And in order to get them, you have to go in person somewhere. And I am certain I'm not going to be able to get my hands on that. Something else that was really interesting as I was looking into Caldera Engineering was that they opted to, in their very early years of their company, use a lawyer for trademark purposes down in Arizona, right? And I'm looking at these early documents and I'm like, wait a second. I know this lawyer. This lawyer was introduced to me by Tyler Boyer at Turning Point USA. I've worked with this lawyer. I've paid this lawyer. This is crazy. So what is the pipeline between Utah and Phoenix? I don't know. You can use a lawyer anywhere, but when you're formulating your company, maybe it was a friend. I don't know. But I now have a ton of questions about Caldera Engineering. So if you have any information, or you're able to find anything about them, or maybe you are an engineer and you're like, I've been buying their valves actually for 20 years, actually, and they're fantastic. They work great. I'd like to hear from you. Again, more tips at CandaceOwens.com. All right, you guys, I'm going to throw it to some sponsors. First and foremost, Pre-Born, you guys know I love them. been sitting on emails and I want to tell this at checkout. All right, a couple of updates for you. We are getting all of your emails, and I want to tell you we're working on everything. Okay, it's like an investigation that never stops. It's just trains that are slowly moving as we get answers. And like I said, even that I've been sitting on for a while. I'm waiting for people to react, see what people say, because I need to know who's guilty of what. I don't know, but I need to watch people lie. Now, one area of conversation that I haven't said much about, but I want you to know we are still working on it, are the 2 planes that day, right? One of them being the plane that people have recognized is military. That's tail number N1098L. So this plane left from Texas, went over to Utah right about the time that Charlie got assassinated. It dipped real low. It seemed like
I've heard this story before, but didn't know enough.
But the fact that this plane had been used in the military rightfully alerted people to the fact that they may have had some knowledge. This plane may have had some knowledge of what was going to occur. But one thing I want to clarify for you is that plane was being contracted. You guys noticed that it was owned by LaSalle Aviation LLC. We are awaiting more information, but I just wanted to let you know that if you recognize that, it is strange. It did happen. There's no question. I've been saying from the beginning, this was a military operation. It's very obvious. The more you peel back the onion, it is very obvious that this was a military operation. So it's fitting that you would have a plane that the military certainly uses. Who would contract that sort of plane? Now, this would be a very easy question for Kash Patel to answer. Hey, Kash Patel, most transparent ever, except when it comes to Epstein. What's up with this plane? Certainly, you have knowledge of who contracted this plane. The answer, if you're being transparent, is going to be like, oh, just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. Somebody decided to take a vacation flight from Texas over Utah to do a little circle and return back home. It happens all the time. When you're bored and you just have an unbelievable amount of money, that's what you do. We're not going to get those answers from Kash Patel about that plane. We're not even getting straight answers about the other plane. That's the plane where Derek Max.
Where she goes. Oh, so there's 2 planes? I didn't even know that. Listen, I'm out to hear. I'll hear any type of idea about this or whatever, like military plan, an individual, a team of individuals that are like outside of government orgs or whatever the fuck, right? It could be Antifa or whatever the fuck. I'll listen to any idea people want to say about this. But I do want reasons. I do want something logical behind it. And I still, it's hard for me to figure out a reason. Once again, I don't know if she means like ex-military people doing a military-style operation, or if she means like straight up like CIA, FBI, some shit like that involved. I mean, she's blatantly saying the FBI is involved, but like who actually did the job itself, I don't know. But I need a reason for it. Why would any government want to kill Charlie Kirk? What was he do? Like, instead, all you did was make him morph. Like, Candace right now, by going over these theories, is making the lore of Charlie Kirk change quite a bit. She has. It's changed it for a lot of people. So I don't understand what you would, why killing him would do anything. Like, leaving him alone probably would have helped you out better than shooting and killing him, because you could see what this can turn into. Unless you underestimate, the intelligence of people looking at this stuff. And to be fair, like a lot of times people just fall dupe for a lot of shit, right? I mean, Trump got elected. Biden got elected. It's people fall for some dumb shit, right? But this one was like, I would think there'd be an easier way to get rid of Charlie Kirk. And it'd just be finances. Like, financially, just get rid of him. All right, you're done. No more money for you. No more access to the White House, or no more access to this organization or that organization. We're going to tell these guys to cut ties with you. We'll get a lot of your employees to leave because we'll start, besmirching your fucking image and who you are and all that shit. There's easier ways to do these things. Straight up. But, all right, here we go. Maybe there's some reason I'm just not thinking of. But, I mean, distraction would be the number one thing to me. But, all right, here we go.
respectable amount of money,
Or
that's what you do.
he's fucking with the money.
We're not going to get those
One or
answers
the
from
other.
Kash Patel about that plane. We're not even getting straight answers about the other plane. That's the plane where Derek Maxfield, his wife Shalane Maxfield, they sold some beauty company for billions, I believe, and they now just run a human sex trafficking organization in
Wait, what?
Utah. That was that plane. I can't remember.
What?
888 is what I actually remember.
What?
It seemed as though that plane left. It went to Page, Arizona, and it appeared that the ADS-B transponder turned off. Now, what Kash Patel told us is different from what Derek Maxfield told us. Derek Maxfield on Instagram clarified that the Air Traffic Control Center was in agreement with them that they could stop transponding. Kash Patel says that plane never stopped transponding. So I don't know what the truth is, and I'm
Kash
not
Patel
even
said it was
pretending that we're
malfunctioning
ever going to
and-
get the truth. What I can tell you is that the investigation that we have been privately conducting has led to more questions than answers. Obviously, multiple pilots, people that work at these airports, people who are invested in this story have reached out, and I'm grateful for that. Multiple people have confirmed that this plane was a little bit weird that day. It was supposed to land in Page, Arizona, in Millionaire
Kirk. It is.
FBO. Last second, it made a change. Just so you guys know, an FBO is just a private terminal. So if you're in a public airport, you go to Terminal 7. If you're flying private, you go to FBO, and it has a name. So that plane was supposed to land into an FBO called Millionaire. Last second, last second,
We just call him
that
a
plane
sex
decided to
trafficker, by the
change
way.
and say, we are going to instead land into Signature, a different FBO. Apparently it landed into Signature. That's certainly what we were told. But there's something off about that, because when people are trying to look into it, somebody at that FBO at first said, oh yes, you've made multiple trips in the last couple of days. And then that person said, I don't know what you're talking about. No plane ever landed here. What? Multiple people have confirmed this for me, that there's something very unusual about this flight. They are guarding information about this flight. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that we've got feds guarding like FBO information. We've got feds guarding Dairy Queens. I don't know. I don't know. Do you need your ice cream guarded? What is going on? Like, guys, you got to just give up. It's going to come out. Whatever it is going to come out. You would have to, and I wouldn't put it past you, you'd have to get rid of all of us. You got like 7 billion people you've got to ethnically cleanse right now if you want us to just forget about the Charlie Kirk story. It's no one's forgetting it, okay? Not the ballistics guys on YouTube that we're all listening to. And no one's going to let this one go because, and by the way, that's your fault. I don't know whose sadistic idea it was to make this a public execution, but let me tell you where you made the mistake, okay? In 1963, when JFK was shot, people didn't watch it on TikTok. People mostly read about it, and then the feds lied about it, and they heard about it. But to be able to have us watch that live around the world, you traumatized all of us. And not in the way that you meant to. You meant to traumatize us and maybe then make us fearful and scared. And yeah, that happened. Then you made us really angry that corruption is allowed to be like this, just so blatant and so in our face, looking at us as if we're nothing. And what are you going to do about it? That's the attitude. What are you going to do about it? You wanted to traumatize us and then to, on a dime, flip and look us in the face and go, how dare you ask questions? People are grieving. Yeah, we're grieving because you assassinated Charlie Kirk in front of the entire world. If you had pretended he slipped and fell on some ice in the winter, maybe you wouldn't have this response. But you got our attention because you went after our attention. You wanted this for whatever sadistic reason. You wanted this to be a public execution, and that disturbs me. So you get what you get, okay? This is the internet generation. You get TikTokers that are asking questions. You get our military guys. You get our ballistic boys. You get the TikTok medium psychic ladies. You get everybody. All of us are here, okay? It's like a high school class. You got all different types of characters here, but we're running this, okay? We're running this.
I don't know about
We're
that.
not going to be nice to any substitute teachers that you try to throw in there and try to calm down. Nope, we're not doing that, okay? We're not calming down. We're pretty upset, and we're going to stay upset. Anyways.
Well, it's a little weird because she makes some okay points. It's just there's also, first of all, there's all these other things that happen that there is no, hey, it's the internet, bro. We have all this information. We could do this. We could do that. Like, there's just cases that gets done blatantly, willy-nilly. No one cares. This one, maybe if it is a giant, grand military style by the government conspiracy thing that happened, maybe they miscalculated in the sense of, hey, if we just throw out Antifa and say it's a trans-loving, furry-loving Antifa far leftist, maybe they'll fall for that because they've been falling for it for a long time now, including you, Candace. You fell for that shit too. Maybe they're like, okay, they'll fall for this. Maybe it's a miscalculation. I don't know. I don't know. You're saying maybe there's like almost like I don't know, ritualistic, sadistic, whatever you want to call it, like a public display. But man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that would be. Because the point would just be the point would be to get rid of Charlie Kirk, right? If it's about this type of operation, it wouldn't be just let's embarrass Charlie Kirk. I mean, the guy who's dead. Embarrass him? He's already dead. It's I don't know. Maybe it's like, okay, disaster capitalism, or try to get a win out of every little tragedy that happens. All right, hey, listen, we'll kill him because we want to kill him, but also we'll take advantage of him dying for our own purposes. Maybe that. But we got nothing yet, Candace. We don't fucking know. Although she's kind of going there. But that's what she believes. I'll say fair enough. I'll say fair enough. But do not turn your fucking brains off, people. I'll tell you that right now. Because, let's be honest, not saying she's doing this, but you have to leave room for the possibility that she's putting together a TV show. And slow drip releasing of information makes people come back to it. And it's very lucrative, if you will. Lucrative, and it gets a lot of attention, and it does say certain things where she's like the spotlight about it. If it wasn't for us, this would have had on and on and so forth. But all right, let's keep going, I guess. Here we go.
I'm gonna tell you guys also an update about Josh Hammer, who's an idiot. He really is an idiot. First and foremost, just funny. I should have pulled it up.
Should I go over this gossip stuff?
He also brought up his book. He issued a statement.
Let me see what Josh Hammer says.
The retreat weekend.
It's something
Josh
sus.
Hammer's lies through teeth all the time.
I'll keep
and
watching.
So he was releasing a statement about how wonderful the Hamptons retreat was, and that
if it's just gossipy shit, then I'll be like, yeah, I'm done. But here we go.
Him and Seth Dillon totally did not press Charlie on anything. And in this public statement, he mentioned his book again. He said, I came to the Hamptons because Charlie wanted me to bring signed copies of my book. I mean, wacky. This man, it's always
I've seen you do that
for Josh
before.
Hammer to promote your book, which is just amazing. Anyways, his response yesterday to our episode was to release text messages between him and Charlie following the call. Great. It lets us know that the call happened at the exact same time that we figured it would actually happen in our timeline, that it had to have been an evening call before he tweeted public execution in this 3-hour window. But these are the messages. We should read them. Charlie Kirk, thank you for your help, guys. Like totally standard response that you say no matter what. Exclamation point. And then I assume this is Josh Hammer that replies and says, good luck at the campus visit start. Don't hesitate to let me know, or any of us know, how we can help. What's your first stop tomorrow, by the way? And I felt like that was weird because I feel like his whole story was that Charlie was reaching out to him because he wanted help to strengthen his debate he needed tips on how to because he just loved Israel so hard that he was like, give me the best talking points so I can go out there and I can defend this state. And I know that like a couple hours ago, I was really angry and I said, I'm done with the pro-Israel lobby, but now I just love you so much that I want to get on the phone with you and have you, who could not beat me in a debate, teach me how to debate. That's what he told us. So we're supposed to believe that he didn't know where Charlie was debating, but that was what the call was about. I don't know. I feel like you would maybe know, and that may have come
I think
up
you're
in
reaching a little
call
bit, Candace.
when you were prepping for his debate tomorrow, where exactly it was that he was debating tomorrow. I don't know anything other than that Josh Hammer is an idiot who can't be trusted and lies through his teeth. I do want to get to, speaking on the topic of Israel, there was a very good video.
Wait, I thought you were going to come back to this. I have to go back to it.
Best don't hesitate to let.
Okay, so it says, thank you for your help today, guys. I thought Candace was going to read the whole thing. Good luck as the campus visits start. Don't hesitate to let me know, or any of us, how I or we can help. What's your first stop, by the way? So, okay, so they had their Zoom call. And then, I guess, Charlie consorted with them. And they gave him advice of... Because, once again, sure, Josh Hammer is a staunch Israel supporter, right? But doesn't mean he's the lobby. But he, in a way, is, but maybe not officially. But either way, I think the other tweet was more so about donors, right? And I think is it possible that Charlie Kirk looked at Josh Hammer as more of a contemporary, not as some sort of like quasi boss figure, you know, or the money guy? They could have had more of like a personal relationship. But yeah. But it seemed like they talked, and it wasn't like a yelling match. And how dare you go against Israel, Charlie? But it's like, and once again, even the original tweet doesn't mean Charlie was really going to go against Israel in my mind. It could just be like, yo, they're taking my money. These guys that are, you know, trying to get me to support Israel no matter what, they're taking money away. I might just do this to say, fuck you. Right? To them, not to his ideas about Israel and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Charlie asked for fucking advice about all this stuff. Or maybe they heard that Charlie had a fucking dramatic engagement with those people in the Hamptons or whatever. And maybe Charlie was feeling a certain way about it, or maybe it's just the donor's part. And these guys are like, hey, man, let's talk to Charlie. And let's not let him throw the baby out with the bathwater here, all right? Maybe. And I also understand someone not trusting any of these people, to be honest with you. So I'll say fair enough on that. It's just me as an outsider, I have to read it as real as I can. And nothing about this screams crazy at all. I'm just saying. But all right, here we go.
Me know, or any of us know, how we can help. What's your first stop tomorrow, by the way? Told to go to this state, and I know that like a couple hours ago I was really angry and I said I'm done with the pro-Israel lobby, but now I just love you so much that I want to get on the phone with you and have you, who could not beat me in a debate, teach me how to debate. That's what he told us. So we're supposed to believe that he didn't know where Charlie was debating, but that was what the call was about. I don't know. I feel like you would maybe
Utah
know,
State,
and that may have come up in a call.
His program
prepping
in general
for his debate tomorrow.
I think she's kind of reaching here.
That he was debating tomorrow. I don't know anything other than that Josh Hammer is an idiot who can't be trusted. And
he's definitely an idiot. And I definitely don't trust that guy.
Speaking on the topic of Israel, there was
I don't trust you either, though, Candace. That's the thing about it.
That came out. Actually, let's first talk about the Israel and Hamas peace deal that they're trying to shove down our throats.
Oh my God!
Now, if you're
wait. So I actually did the beginning of well, obviously, if you're watching this video, and you didn't skip over it. you would have saw that I covered some aspects of that story, assuming that Candace was strictly going to go on some investigative information about Charlie Kirk and some like gossip or theories in regards to Charlie Kirk. I did not expect this to come up. So you know what? I'm here for this. Let me find out, Candace. Here we go.
The Israel and Hamas peace deal that they're trying to shove down our throats.
It's trying to shove down.
Now, if you're reading the headlines, a peace agreement is what we're calling it, has been reached between Israel and Hamas. Oh my gosh, because they decided that there's going to be phases and Israel is going to partially withdraw.
Is this a fuck you to
its troops
Josh
from Gaza,
Hammer, or is it?
And Hamas is going to release the remaining hostages. And this is, of course, after everything that happened on October 7th. Don't forget about October 7th. And yeah, like hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are missing. And yeah, they have destroyed 85% of Gaza. And they're going to try to tell us that we've reached peace.
Actually, they're late. You have to realize it hasn't been that long. I mean, they've obviously been bombing Gaza City, but they went over the top with bombardments within the recent like months and weeks. And I believe the number from Israeli figures, by the way, I believe the number was like 83% of Gaza City, like absolutely fucked. So like just adding to it that those people are not going to be allowed to stay there. Even if they're it's the wholesome, most saintly people, the Peace Prize winner here to rebuild your cities, right? That's going to take time. That's going to take a lot of time. And yeah, when there's time and people don't have places to live and one side really is ready to jump at the gun to tear them up and kill them again, yeah, that doesn't spell for good things. And also the idea of moving them out. Like, hey, you guys can't live here. It's too destroyed. We'll send you over here. And then oh, we forgot how, like, damn, we forgot about who had to leave? Oh, we forgot about them. Thus they never never returned and type of shit. Or they built it up in a certain way with certain investments to where now it's too expensive to live there. We'll see though. Here we go.
At the center of it was Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They arrived on Wednesday morning to represent the U.S. negotiators from Israel, and Hamas and mediators from Qatar and Egypt and Turkey also participated. And we're supposed to go, wow, that's amazing. Trump put a statement out on Truth Social. He wrote, I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace that all parties will be treated fairly. I can't even finish it because it makes me sick that they think we're this dumb. 85% of Gaza has been destroyed in this pre-planned, controlled demolition of Gaza. Bibi Netanyahu is on camera explicitly before October 7th saying we need to hit them so hard that they can't come back. Jared Kushner is involved in, he will financially benefit from whatever they build in its place. Again, all of this began before October 7th, right? So we are supposed to believe that this isn't just, well, business as usual. We got done what we needed to get done, and now we can begin phase two. But we're supposed to thank them. We're supposed to thank the monsters that did this. You guys have it in your heart to say thank you? Thank you to Jared Kushner and Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, who are just business partners playing a role, convinced that we're all so stupid. I mean, let's roll the clip back from Jared
Candace been
Kushner.
Watching YellBro?
He sat down at Harvard.
What's going on here?
Mossad operation to speak about their aims. This is February 15th, 2024.
He's actually talking about this.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like, she did vote for Trump and support and campaign for Trump when his only line about Israel Gaza was, "Well, Israel's got to go in there and finish the job. They got to finish the job." So this was quite predictable. But whatever.
Yeah.
People are a
We
little
can't help.
slow to the
Well,
gun.
I agree with her words that she's saying right now. But I'm at the same time thinking about the context of her not, like, she just mentioned, like, there's over 100,000 people dead, and but she hasn't mentioned this only only now that people are like trying to make like praise out of this step are they
Yeah.
that's when she's using it to like just shit on them or Israel basically, right? So
That or
it's
the Josh Hammer topic, where it's like, let me just twist the knife a little bit more because Josh Hammer's extremely pro-Israel, right? And maybe she pivots from that to talk about like, here's what these people are doing. See? But also, yeah, she might just be like, once again, I can understand somewhat of the logic of, all right, we all know what's going on over there. All right, whatever. Oh, now you have a peace deal, but you got to come out here and brag like you're the heroes of something when you're really not. You're the perpetrators of all this stuff. So maybe I'll leave room for that, possibly. But I don't know. Candace should probably check her analytics and see if the audience retention fell off as soon as she changed topics from Charlie Kirk. She should probably look at that. And also, like, why not just give like a 5-10 minute intro giving updates if you care about the topic that much? Get plenty of time to talk about the rest of the stuff you're talking about. Like, why not, hey guys, this is what's happening in the world outside of Charlie Kirk, just so you guys don't like lose sight of this, because if they dangle this thing in front of us and we get stuck on it, they might do other shit through the side door. So, but you know what? Whatever. I can't read her mind. I hope it's not something creepy or malicious. I hope it's genuine care about the topic. But all right, here we go. Let's hear from Devil worshiper Jared Kushner.
Of their aims. This is February 15th, 2024. Take a listen.
There are real fears on the part of Arabs, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of them who think,
look at this
once
dweeb.
Gazans
Look at him.
leave Gaza,
you can't tell.
Netanyahu's never going to let them back in.
Maybe, but I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point. So, if you think about even the construct, like, Gaza was not really a historical precedent, right? It was the result of a war, right? You had tribes that were in different places, but then Gaza became a thing. Egypt, used to run it. And then, over time, you had different governments that came in different ways. So you have another war, usually when wars happen, borders are changed.
They were there for
historically over
thousands of years
time.
before.
And so my sense is I would say, how do we deal with the terror threat that is there so that it cannot be a threat to Israel or to Egypt, right? I think that both sides are spending a fortune on military. I think neither side really wants to have, a terrorist organization enclaved right between them. I mean, Gaza's waterfront property. It could be very valuable to, if people would focus on kind of building up
he's steepling the whole
the
time.
money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions, if that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there, but I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards.
That's what everyone's saying, yeah. And in fact, it's a relatively small number, but I think Trump plans to send 200 U.S. military troops over there as part of this. And it's like, I'm guessing they're going to slow. Like you said, there's no Gaza there left. So you might as well move them out, rebuild it, and then say, hey, guys, you can come back for $20,000 hotel luxury apartments. $20,000 a month. It's like, what? If you guys want to work here, like sweep the floors, we'll let you do that, but you got to stay in these security zones because you guys are radicalized by birth, from birth. God made you radicalized, so you have to stay in these little security pockets for the rest of your lives, working a quarter of minimum wage jobs. All right, here we go. It's inhumane, but he's saying it like it's normal.
Peace Prize, by the way, for the planned ethnic cleansing so that they could profit on the land and turn it into a beach town. So let me say this. This is our never again, okay? This is a Holocaust. A Holocaust just happened. A real Holocaust just happened.
Oh, shit, Candace.
You need to tell your children what happened in Gaza. You need to tell them exactly who did it, exactly whose families were involved in this. And when you hear in the future somebody tell you, like, we're going to Gaza Beach for a vacation, you need to look at them like they are the absolute vermin of our
Oh
society
my
because they
God.
are. They are. Their children will be
I agree.
cursed. Okay.
This is a
You
play.
go and you play in the sand where
It
you
smells
know
like a
that
play,
your
Yes.
Jesse.
forefathers planned
It is.
to mass murder children. You will be cursed. Every person who steps foot on that, every family that is set to inherit what they did,
Oh wow.
they will be cursed. Your children's children will be cursed. Gaza belongs to nobody but the Palestinians. So when you begin to move the Israelis in there, and when the Trump Hotel gets built on there, I caution the rest of the world to
What
stay
am I hearing
far
here?
away from that cursed land because something is coming. You can't commit that much evil in broad daylight and not think it's going to come back to haunt you. Anyways.
Wouldn't she spend her time fighting Black Lives Matter? Wasn't their main narrative about like, oh, slavery, and we've been treated like shit, and Jim Crow, and all this stuff? Can't like, shut up. Things are better now, okay? But now she's really cursed. It smells like a play. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, Candace fans, I'm sorry. It smells like a fucking play. Then when she said, and this is the line that gave it away to me, at least. I could be wrong, but this is the line that gave it away. You know what's happening over there? A Holocaust. A real Holocaust. Like, oh, fuck, she's trying to trigger people. She's trying to trigger someone. 100%, bro. That's what I'm smelling right now. What the fucking fuck? And this is out of nowhere, dude. This is like smells like a concerted effort, bro. Am I tripping? Am I hearing things?
Like you're very familiar with stories, right?
Yeah.
Now, I got a vibe like no lie, like a Disney-ish kind of like setup, like when you present the Wicked Witch of this, like the like when you're showing the evil, like it had kind of the harmony, the way she was talking about it had those rhythms. How you present one of these, like, so, I mean, yeah, it's kind of this. I was agreeing with her all the way for what she was saying, but then she's not talking about like um things that happen anymore. She went into like curses and like uh
Oh my god.
like evil omens, right?
She even did like the cinematic like drop to a kind of whisperish voice because it's like cinematically, that those moments can become more impactful even though they're not loud, right? They're quieter. And that's the impact of it, is that the tone changed, right? It's like Catwoman whispering into Batman's ear like, how could you like live so lavishly while you take so much from the rest of us, or whatever the fuck the idea. Like I think that was like kind of like the line. And she like whispered it in his ear, and it actually had more of a harder impact in the scene because of the whispering. And she kind of just did that right there. She like dropped her tone of voice, like, I'm being really serious right now, like type of shit. Holy fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, I'm almost guessing. Once again, forgive me for thinking of the scandalous, but I'm thinking of the scandalous, bro. It is what it is. We're already in conspiracy land. I'm going with it. Her saying, going with the Josh Hammer story last, right? And then bringing this up right afterwards. And then the way she's going about it, it's like, when she says it's a Holocaust, a real Holocaust, like almost emphasizing those words. Like it's, like, are you implying the other one wasn't real, or like where do you go with that? And I almost guarantee you, Jesse, I almost guarantee you, if someone's like, "Yo, did you just deny the Holocaust? Like the Nazi Holocaust?" You're like, "I didn't say that. Did I say that? I didn't say that." She'll be hands up in the air. I didn't say that. But it's
So one
like
place to go with this.
you have to, like, wouldn't you like read the room, right? Like you would just hear it the way it sounds and be like, "Wait a minute." God dang, bro. It just smells so much like a Game of Thrones play. It really does. She's
I want to
playing
see her.
5D chess. Or some
She's
shit.
got a smooth transition into some like Chuck barbecue, like
Right into an ad.
just roll into it. She's so smooth in that transition. She got some skills. I gotta give her that.
Let's hear. Let's see if she rolls into an ad or she has more to say. Let's see.
God bless. May he get his Nobel Peace Prize. Sticking with that point, obviously, I was looking to see what people thought about the text messages, and it was really funny. I came across a clip of Matt Walsh, who I adore. It's very funny, and he was
Matt Walsh, loser. You come in my comment section. I mean, you can say any opinion you want, but to defend Matt Walsh, that fucking dweeb. Holy Christ. I mean, just snoozing through life and no critical thinking. Holy Christ. If you can't smell what that guy's fucking doing. And not for Christ, by the way. For him and his team's own egos. Anyways, here we go. Probably
saying
something
about
worse.
the Charlie Kirk messages. He actually thought they were fake because he said he couldn't believe the sentence that felt too on the nose. He's like, I genuinely thought that there's no way Charlie would ever leave the pro-Israel lobby. First and foremost, his support for Israel. He loved it so much. So it's like, you must have done a lot to make him actually write that statement, which felt too on the nose to Matt Walsh in that text message. I have no choice but to lead the pro-Israel cause. And anyways, he gave some very sage advice, which is not going to be heeded by the Josh Hammers of the world, about what that really means, that your behavior pushed even Charlie Kirk away. Take a listen to what Matt Walsh had to say.
And at some point, if you're on the pro-Israel
Listen
side,
to him and
you
look
really
at
need
him.
to be honest
How are
with
you fooled by
yourself
this?
and engage in some actual honest self-reflection and self-analysis. You really do. Because you're losing the argument. I mean, you're just losing it. You are. And I've never seen any side of any argument lose this much support this quickly. I can't think of any other example of something like this. And if you're on that side, you need to have the courage and humility to ask yourself what you're doing wrong.
That's it. That was it.
I've last time I heard him talk about this topic, he was almost kind of like on the. It sounded like he was not one way or the other until
in
he
a bullshit
said,
way.
"But how are we going to destroy Hamas?"
Exactly. But Jesse, people fall for that. People fall for that shit. God. Also, the idea of like, I don't even care what's going on there. I care about America. Very Christian of you, my man. Very Christian of you. So, once again, another motherfucker that's going to need another IQ test moment, just like Candace will need. More moments where it'll be, here's the IQ test, guys. Are you still on board? Shut up. Yo, Jordan, shut up, bro. Candace is talking. Yo, shut up, Matt Walsh is talking. You're just jealous. Just wait for the IQ test to fucking happen. And don't worry, I know you won't come back here and talk to me again. I know you won't be able to show your fucking face. I mean, you'll be allowed to, and I won't fucking insult you about it. But you might be too embarrassed. But yeah, all right, listen. Yeah, write it off as like he's just a liberal. That's why he's a liberal, Bernie bro, Biden supporter, Kamala voter. Write it off as that, so you don't have to actually think anymore. Good luck to you. I'm ending my video right there. I thank you for the non-statement, Matt Walsh. But there's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree. I mean, this thing kind of got bookended with, is that the right word? Bookended with the whole Hamas, Israel, U.S. quote-unquote peace deal. And I mean, I want to say me and Candace said similar things. I guess the crux of it is kind of similar of like, well, you can't just take your eye off the ball here. You can't just turn your brains off and say, look, we have peace now. You have to actually do more investigation on the story. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't sound weird, but I think my analysis was better. And I think Candace's was a play. And not a play like well, it's partially theater, but a play in the sense of setting up moves, and if these people react to it, I'll have them caught in like a trap. You know, it's 5D chess, if you will. But still, you heard two different perspectives on the topic. Fair enough. And then obviously the Charlie Kirk stuff. Candace's guarantees about the medical examiner and not about the examiner, but like the examination of the bullet did come from the front, and it did actually stop in the body, and it was a lower caliber, and on and so forth. We need receipts for that, otherwise we're still pissing in the wind. Is that the right saying? Whatever. But I genuinely love to hear all opinions, even Matt Walsh dick riders. Please, I dare you to open your fucking mouths up. Pause. I dare you to. Don't worry, I'll be nice. I'll try to be nice. But yeah, tell me in the comment section. Do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, check out the Discord link. If you want to join that, we are in that Discord right now. For any, once again, all opinions welcome. All of them welcome. Just nothing pornographic, nothing grotesque, like uber violent and shit like that. Unless, once again, in my Discord, let's say someone's trying to examine the Charlie Kirk thing, like, and they don't want to blur it out. They want to be able to show like what's happening here. I'm not going to get in the way of that, because that's like, seems like, you know, actually trying to study a case or go over a case and do your internet sleuthing and all that stuff. I'm totally in favor of that. Just do your best to give warnings before you do that. It doesn't have to be Charlie. It could be anything. It could be war stories, anything like that. Documentaries that show some crazy ass shit. If it's about information, I'm not going to get in the way of that at all. That's not just important. I think it's needed. So, yeah, but no, like, crazy violence for the sake of crazy violence. I've seen it before from children. You know, people, I guess they're technically adults, but behave like children. Just don't do that, please. And then also, everything I showed you today will be linked in the description box. You can read up on it on your own and look through it, including Candace's video. Check it all out in there. I don't think she sources anything, does she? I'm sure she sources in the sense of words, but doesn't source in the sense of, here's a clip. Okay, I'll put that in the description box so you can easily find it. Whatever. But please check out that description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.